You have giant dreams, but tiny execution. You watch everyone else win and think, I could do that better. But when it's time to start, you choose the doom scroll. You're not lazy. You're an ambitious soul paralyzed by the fear of not being special. If you're tired of being a spectator of your own potential, this story will break the tomorrow cycle and reveal what's truly holding you back. Does that sound familiar? It's that crushing weight in your chest when you know you should be working on that business, that book, or that body. But instead, you're 3 hours deep into a documentary about something you don't even care about. You feel like a fraud. You feel like a Ferrari parked in a garage, gathering dust while Honda Civics are out there winning races. But here's the secret that nobody tells you. You aren't actually lazy. Lazy people don't care. Lazy people are perfectly comfortable on the couch. You're miserable there. You're suffering from a paradox I call the lazy ambitious. You have the vision of a king, but the daily habits of a ghost. But why? Why is it so hard to just start? Science actually gives us a fascinating answer. Dr. Tim Feichel, a leading psychologist on procrastination, discovered that this isn't a time management problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. When you look at your big goal, your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear, sees a threat. Not a physical threat, but a threat to your ego. It thinks, what if I try and I'm actually bad at it? What if I'm not the genius I think I am? To protect you from that pain, your brain triggers a flight response. And in the modern world, flight looks like opening Instagram for just 5 minutes. You're not avoiding the work. You're avoiding the feeling of being a beginner. You're stuck in the tomorrow trap, believing that some future version of you will magically have more courage. But that version of you doesn't exist yet. To find him, we need to look at the story of a guy named Leo. Leo was exactly where you are right now, full of ideas but empty of results, until one Tuesday morning, a single encounter forced him to face a brutal truth that changed his life forever. And if you stay with me, it's about to change yours too. Let's talk about Leo. Leo is 27, he's brilliant, and his apartment is a shrine to potential. If you walked into his room, you'd see a bookshelf packed with every self-help bestseller from the last decade. His walls are covered in neon post-it notes, business models, workout splits, manifestation quotes. To anyone looking in, Leo looks like a man on the verge of greatness. But if you look closer, those post-its are dusty. Those books have bookmarks that haven't moved in 6 months. Leo is stuck in a loop. He's addicted to the feeling of being productive without actually producing anything. He watches 10 hours of how-to videos because it gives him a cheap hit of dopamine that tricks his brain into thinking he's actually working. Have you ever felt that? That weird, hollow satisfaction of planning your life while your actual life stays exactly the same? The breaking point for Leo came on a rainy Tuesday at a local coffee shop. He ran into Mark, an old college friend. Now back in school, Leo was the star. Everyone thought Leo would be the millionaire while Mark was just average. But as they talked, Mark mentioned he had just hit a massive milestone with his new tech startup. Leo felt a physical punch to the gut. Why? Because Mark's business was the exact idea Leo had sketched on a napkin 3 years ago. The exact one. In that moment, Leo's world collapsed. He realized the most brutal truth of the modern age. The world doesn't reward the person with the best idea. It rewards the person who actually shows up. Mark wasn't smarter. He wasn't luckier. He just didn't wait to feel ready. While Leo was busy perfecting his strategy and waiting for the stars to align, Mark was out there being messy, making mistakes, and actually building. That night, Leo couldn't sleep. He sat in the dark, staring at his perfect plans, and finally admitted it. It wasn't a lack of resources. It wasn't a lack of time. It was fear. He was terrified that if he actually tried and failed, he'd have to face the fact that he wasn't special. He preferred the comfort of potential over the risk of reality. He was suffering from cognitive dissonance, the mental pain of knowing who you could be while seeing exactly who you are. But how do you break a cycle that deep? How do you stop being the guy with the plan and start being the guy with the results? Leo was about to find out from a man who had spent 40 years climbing literal mountains, and the lesson he learned would change the way you look at your to-do list forever. Desperate for a way out of his own head, Leo visited an old family friend named Elias, Elias wasn't a guru or a life coach. He was a master carpenter who had spent his youth climbing some of the most dangerous peaks in the world. When Leo poured his heart out, complaining about his laziness and his inability to start, Elias didn't offer a platitude. He just pointed to a massive, unfinished oak table in his workshop. "Leo," he said, "when I was on a mountain, I never looked at the summit. If you stare at the peak while you're at the base, the mountain wins. It looks too big, too impossible. So you sit down, you check your gear for the 10th time, and you wait for better weather. That's not laziness. That's terror." This hit Leo like a lightning bolt. Elias continued, "You aren't lazy. Lazy people don't have big dreams that keep them up at night. You're just paralyzed because you're trying to climb the whole mountain in your head before you've even tied your boots. You're afraid that if you take one step and slip, it means you aren't a climber. But the truth? The only difference between a climber and a dreamer is that the climber is willing to look like an amateur for the first 1,000 steps. By the way, if this realization is hitting you as hard as it hit Leo, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. It tells the algorithm that people actually want real talk instead of fake motivation, and it helps this message reach the next Leo who needs to hear this today. Elias was talking about something psychologists call the Yerkes-Dodson Law. It shows that there's an optimal level of arousal or stress for performance. If you don't care at all, you do nothing. But if you care too much, if your goal is tied to your entire identity, your anxiety spikes so high that your performance drops to zero. You freeze. You aren't lazy. You're just over-caring yourself into a coma. Elias looked at Leo and gave him the ultimate reframe. Stop trying to be a genius and start being a student. The mountain doesn't care about your potential. It only cares about your next step. But what exactly does that next step look like? Elias handed Leo a simple 3-part framework that turns ambitious ghosts into execution machines. And these 3 laws are exactly what we're diving into right now. So how did Leo actually break the chains? Elias gave him 3 laws that are going to feel like a cold shower for your soul. Law number 1, the permission to be bad. The biggest lie your ego tells you is that your first attempt should be your masterpiece. That's not high standards, that's a trap. Fakers wait for perfection. Winners accept being trash at the start. You have to be willing to be the person who sucks so you can eventually become the person who succeeds. Law number 2, the principle of the first mile. Resistance is always highest at the 0 point. It's basic physics. Once a car is moving, it takes less energy to keep it going. This is backed by the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon where our brains stay in a state of tension until a task is completed. The hardest part isn't the work. It's the transition into the work. If you can just survive the first 10 minutes of discomfort, your brain will actually shift gears and help you finish. The momentum will literally carry you. Law number 3, readiness is a myth. If you wait until you feel 100% ready, you will be waiting in your grave. Clarity is a consequence of action, not a prerequisite for it. You don't think your way into a new life. You act your way into one. Confidence isn't something you have. It's something you earn by doing the things you're afraid of. Leo didn't go home and build a multi-million-dollar company that night. He went home and wrote 200 words of a terrible business plan. He went to the gym and felt like a fool for 15 minutes. But he showed up again the next day. 3 months later, he didn't have potential anymore. He had a prototype, a manuscript, and a body that was actually changing. He stopped being a Ferrari in a garage and became a machine in the world. The brutal truth? The universe doesn't reward your intentions. It doesn't care about your big dreams. It only rewards your movement. Your anxiety is just a compass pointing toward your growth. The only cure for fear is motion. Close this video. Put the phone down. Do one tiny, imperfect thing right now. Not tomorrow. Now.